Let's talk about some of the important topics from the section of art and culture. Now, the first is Natesha. This is a Pratihara style of Rajasthan, a rare sandstone idol that has been found in London, which belonged to the Ghateshwar temple of Baroli, Rajasthan. Now, this was smuggled out of the country in 1998. It is a depiction of Lord Shiva, and beneath the right leg of Natesha icon, there is a depiction of Nandi. So, a very important idea. Now, this is a part of India Pride project, which is a group of art enthusiasts using social media to identify the stolen artifacts from the various temples of India and securing their return back to India. The next important is the Pratihara style. Now, Pratihara style is a unique style of temple architecture mainly belonging to the Rajasthan Gurjar Pratihar dynasty from mid 8th to 11th century. Now, this was mainly during the Nagbhat, Mihir Bhoj and Mahendra Pal that the Nagar style was developed, and there was numerous developments which were seen even in Khajuraho, and this is part of the UNESCO World Heritage. The next is Raja Ravi Verma. Now, Ravi Verma is known for representing the Hindu gods and goddesses. He was born in Kerala and he trained himself in watercolors mainly from Ramaswamy Naidu, who was a painter during that time. He had made nearly 7,000 paintings and portrayed most of the Hindu mythological figures from the Indian and the European style. There has been the idea of developing lithographic press, which is reproduction of his works through lithographic press, and he started his own printing press in Maharashtra, first in Ghatkopar and then in Lonavala. Some of his famous works have been mentioned here. He has been awarded as Kesare Hind Gold Medal by British colonial government, and a crater at Mercury planet is known after him. The next is Hampi Stone Chariot. Now, Hampi Stone Chariot is again part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site at Hampi. Now, Archaeological Survey of India has taken the responsibility to protect it. There are three famous stone chariots. One is at the Konark, the next is at Mahabalipuram, and the third is at Hampi. King Krishnadev Rai of Vijayanagar built this chariot in 16th century. Now, Hampi is known as one of the World Heritage Site in 1986, and it is also known for the world's largest open air museum. There are numerous temples which are seen here. The Battle of Talikota has been important, and this was between Vijayanagar and the four Muslim sultans of Bijapur, Bidar, Ahmednagar and Golconda, which we have covered in our class on Vijayanagar and Bahmani Kingdom. The next is the Vithala temple. Vithala temple was built during the 15th century under Devrai II, and this was again one of the major temples dedicated to Lord Vishnu, and Devrai was a Vijayanagar ruler. So most of the architects were in the Dravidian style. About the Vijayanagar kingdom, as we said, we have discussed separately. The next is the indigenous games. Now, India is known for numerous indigenous games. For example, Gadka, Karilapattu, Thangta, Mallakhamb. Now, those are some of those which have been included in the Khelo India Youth Games 2021. Now, Khelo India, why they have been important, the list of those games and the importance of the traditional games have been cited. The Khelo India 2021 is said to happen in Haryana. The 2020 edition happened in Guwahati, and the idea is to bring in gender equality, health benefits, national pride, and encourage the Indian origin games. So Gatka is originated from Punjab. It is a type of self-defense and a sports, and has a different category, which is the Gatka Federation of India in 2008. The next is Kalirai Pattu. This is originating from Kerala. It's a form of martial arts, and Kalari is the place where martial art has been practiced, and it's a kind of unique gymnastics that is seen. Mallakhamb is another sport which is seen, and Malla means wrestler and Kamb means pole. Now, here a gymnast performs a aerial yoga and therefore is important. It is mainly seen in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. The next is Thangta. Thangta is again a local sport from Manipur. Huyan means war, and this is therefore known as Huyan Longley. So Huyan means war in the Mithai language, and Longley means the art. So art of knowing the war is what is the Thangta, and this is the armed combat. The next is Rogan art. Rogan art art is a unique art from Gujarat. Now, Rogan in Persian means oil, and this started in the region of Kutch nearly 300 years ago. This is a hand painting which is done on cloth. So castor crops, which are commonly grown in the regions of Kutch, are used by the local artists from the local farmers there. And this textile painting is very unique, which is done with castor oil and natural colors. There has been fine threads which are used, and these are mixed and used with a metal stylus which is known as kalam to create unique paintings. Now, besides this, there are numerous other unique paintings, the list of those which are given here. For example, Varli art from Maharashtra, Madhubani paintings from Bihar, Kalamkari from Andhra Pradesh, Kangra from Himachal Pradesh, and so on. The next is Katkari tribe. Now, Katkari tribe is a tribe from Shahpur in Maharashtra, and this tribe has been selling Giloy. Now, Giloy is one of the Ayurvedic herbs which has been advocated under the Indian Ayurvedic medicine system since long, and it is known as Stenospora caldifolia. We have covered this in the separate lecture on down to earth in the month of June, and this is one of the important topics to be known for this time. Now, Katkari tribe is one of the 75 particularly vulnerable tribal groups in India and is known for selling katechu from the care crop and also Giloy. So those are two of the major products that they have been selling. The next is solarization of the Konkan Sun Temple. 100% solarization of Konkan Sun Temple and the Konark Sun Temple and the Konark town has been done in Odisha. Now, this would be possible through a 10 megawatt grid project which has been established, and solar trees, solar drinking water, solar kiosk would be some of the efforts in this direction. Now, Konark Temple, why it has been important? It was built by King Narsimhadev Rai I of Ganga dynasty in 13th century and lies near Puri. There is a 7 days of a week festival, and those symbolizes the 7 horses of Konark. So again, important, it was a UNESCO World Heritage Site declared in 1984. The next is GI tags. Now, there have been numerous GI tags which have been granted. GI is the geographical indicator. For example, black rice of Manipur, Chakhao terracotta of Gorakhpur are some of those. So let's talk about each of those. So Chakhao is a rice which is glutinous sticky rice found from the region of Manipur. This takes nearly 40 to 50 minutes to cook and is more fibrous, has higher crude fiber content, and along with that it is known as a part of traditional medicine. The Gorakhpur terracotta is known for creating various products, for example horses, elephants, faces of various idols, and this is found from the Kabis clay. Now, Kabis clay is mainly seen in the pond of Aurangabad, Barwalia and Budalia village. The next is Kashmiri saffron. Now, saffron in literature is known as Bahukam, and it is harvested in the Karewas, which are the highlands of Jammu Kashmir. The Central Asian migrants basically brought the saffron cultivation to India, and the saffron spices are therefore important. The next is Sorai Khovari paintings. Now, these are the mural arts locally done, mainly seen in the regions of Ranchi. These paintings are very important. So GI tag and the indicators are important. Those have been marked and show the legal protection, the unauthorized use of certain products in the region. The next is the Kodumangal excavation. Now, nearly 250 crane circles have been identified by Department of Archaeology in Chennai from the Kodumandal excavation in Tamil Nadu's Erode, and these denote the prehistoric stone presence. For the first time, pots and bowls which date back to the prehistoric time have been deciphered here. There have been animal skulls, beads, copper smelting units and Brahmani script which have been found. Also, this has come up as a site of trade cum industry which was established back in 5th century BC. So these are part of some of the megalithic cultures, and the burials have shown the box-shaped burials, stone circles, or mushroom-shaped burial chambers from various regions across the region. The next is Talamande. Now Talamande is a traditional art, and this is a variant of Yakshagan theatre, which is now virtual during the COVID times. Now this is Yakshagan minus the costumes, dance, and is a traditional theatre of Karnataka. Most popular episodes from Mahabharata, Ramayana are being explained, and it also focuses on a form of puppet art which is known as Gombayat. There are numerous various theatres from India which we have covered in a separate lecture. For example, Nautanki, Tamasha are some of those which we have covered separately. The next is Naimisha. Naimisha is a summer art project by the National Gallery of Modern Art, Delhi, and it talks about chance for the participants and art enthusiasts for online workshops and practices. So the first cultural media platform under this has been started as Soham, and it is inspired by the Vedic philosophy. The next is the Mongolian Kanjur, which are being reprinted. Now these are being done by the National Mission for Manuscripts, and this has some of the copies which are presented to the government of Mongolia on the day of Dharma Chakra. Now these are Buddhist canonical text which is written in 108 volume. Most of the religious text from Mongolia has been written here. Kanjur means the concise order in Mongolian language, and therefore focuses on the various forms of denominations. The National Mission for Manuscripts, which is started in 2008 for documentation, preservation of the documentations, has been working in line for the same. The next is language of the Tangams. Now Tangams are one of the tribal groups of Arunachal Pradesh. Tangam language is an oral language which belongs to the Tani group and is marked as critically endangered. There are around only 325 people who know this language which exists so far, and similarly we have Mayar, which is another language from Arunachal Pradesh, which has only 1000 people who know these language. Now all these traditions are imparted orally. There are no written texts which are present, and with so list of population which exists here, the UNESCO World Atlas for Endangered Languages is trying to preserve these kind of languages, and we have seen numerous languages specifically from Arunachal Pradesh. Arunachal Pradesh, the People's Linguistic Survey of India was published in 2017, and it said that 32 to 34 languages have been found from the region of Arunachal Pradesh. There are nearly 90 such languages which are part of the danger group or closer to extinction, and therefore protection of these languages become an important responsibility. So in Arunachal Pradesh, some of the languages are from the Sino-Tibetan language and the others are from Tibeto-Burmese languages or the Thai group, and the kind of endangerment and categorization has been mentioned here. The next is the Chendamangalam sarees. Now these are found from Kerala, and Kerala, the Kasavu sarees are important because they have the gold or the zari border towards the bottom, and the three clusters which government have identified are Balrampuram, the Chendamangalam, and Kuthampalli. Those have been given GI tag for these sarees. They are known for the black line running on the border, and this is with the unique stripes and the checks printing that is done. Besides this, there are numerous other GI products from Kerala. For example, the Pakoli rice, the Nilambar teak, and the Tirut beetle leaves. The next is Kakatiya dynasty. Now Kakatiya dynasty is one of the important dynasties, and numerous Durga temples have been built during this time. The Balasurlam idol, which has been installed in the Dhanir Kota, has been one of the major part of the Kakatiya dynasty. The next is the National List for Intangible Cultural Heritage. Now intangible cultural heritage are those heritage which cannot be actually visibly identified clarified. They run through the oral traditions, performing arts, social practices, or traditional craftsmanship. And there have been a list. For example, 2008, chanting of Vedic mantras was part of the UNESCO's intangible heritage. Later on, Chahu dance in 2010. Then we have yoga in 2016, Kumbh Mela in 2017, which became part of it. So the complete list is present here. There has been a scheme set up by Ministry of Culture to safeguard the intangible heritage and the culture of India. The UNESCO list of the intangible culture also talks about the hawker culture in Singapore. Now these are the living heritage which the people or the hawkers share in the region of Singapore, explaining a multicultural identity. Now, Ministry of Culture in India has come up with an initiative of Vision 2024, which talks about preserving these intangible heritage. Now, besides this, UNESCO has numerous other initiatives. For example, the World Heritage Program, Man in Biosphere Program, the Global Geopark Network, and the Network of Creative Cities. Now, the Network of Creative Cities focuses on 5 Indian cities in this, which focuses for Mumbai as a film city, Hyderabad as a gastronomy city, Chennai as a creative city of music, Varanasi again as a creative city of music, and Jaipur as a city of craft and folk art. So those was in the section on the art and culture. We would be covering many more interesting topics in the upcoming lecture. Stay tuned. Have a wonderful day ahead.